KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
As the Omicron variant continues to spread, the Associated Press is reporting more people are calling in sick, unable to work.
And while that's happening, the CDC is also reducing the amount of days that people should isolate when they've been diagnosed with COVID. It went from 10 days to 5 after the CDC says that people are no longer contagious.
Jesse Degollado talked to an expert at University Health who provides some clarification on what to do during isolation.
If you've tested positive, regardless of your vaccination status, the CDC now says isolate for just 5 days instead of 10. And if you have no symptoms or the symptoms improve after 5 days, CDC says you no longer need to isolate and should wear a mask for 5 days. But if you have a fever, CDC says stay home until it's gone.
You really need to be wearing a mask irrespective of your isolation or quarantine period.
Dr. Alsop with University Health says CDC's data was based on the rate of transmission from person to person in the first few days of infection, not the lab data.
But that would be more reassuring because we would know exactly whether something can replicate and transmit after 5 days or not to give you, I think, a greater sense of comfort.
If you're not boosted or unvaccinated and exposed to someone who tests positive, CDC recommends isolating for 5 days and wearing a mask for 5 days. If you can't quarantine, wear a mask for 10 days and get tested on day 5.
Based on the data that they're seeing, I feel pretty comfortable. Those are good recommendations.
Confusing though the changing guidelines may be, he says the simplest advice is to get vaccinated and boosted.
I think that's really important to be aware of, irrespective of some of the changing dates and times.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
Now the CDC is saying the Omicron variant is responsible for 58% of new cases, but that's down from their estimates of 73% just last week. Now, despite that, Omicron is still the dominant strain of this disease.
And with COVID cases rising across the nation, the demand for COVID tests is also rising. Many testing sites around the country still wrapping around blocks with very long wait times.
Quite a few months ago, we had come for testing, and the line was nowhere near this long.
So the CDC updated its guidance for asymptomatic Americans infected with COVID-19. It cut the isolation period in half from 10 days to 5. It also recommends that individuals continue wearing masks for 5 days after that. The CDC also says that people who are exposed but have their booster shots should still mask up, but they don't need to quarantine. Day 9. And San Antonio police and the FBI continue looking for 3-year-old Lena Keel.
Yeah, today they provided an update during a news conference right outside of the Northwest Side apartment complex where she was last seen on a playground. Japhanie Gray was there and has more on the ongoing search efforts.
Both SAPD and the FBI say that they have leads and have received several tips. However, it seems they are at a bit of a standstill in what Chief William McManus is still describing as a missing persons investigation. 3-year-old Lena Keel disappeared from the Villas del Cabo apartment complex on Fredericksburg Road. The FBI says there is an 18-minute window where no one had any visibility of Lena that Monday evening. Chief McManus says that they are viewing surveillance video and social media. They are trying to connect the dots between that and people they've interviewed. He says that they also have several K-9 units searching green belts between Fredericksburg Road and Loop 410. Nearby businesses have stepped in, passing out flyers in hopes of Lena's safe return.
I couldn't imagine losing a sibling or a loved one at all, let alone to have them be so young. So to have a child go missing, and then see the outpour and have it work out successfully would mean not only the world to me and everybody in the city, but it would also mean the world to that child and their family as well.
San Antonio police and the FBI say that they are still conducting interviews with people, and even though their command post has been shut down, they're keeping several officers at that apartment complex. They're urging anyone with any information that could lead to Lena's whereabouts to contact their missing persons unit. That number is 210-207-7660. The reward has gone up to $150,000. At Public Safety Headquarters, Japhanie Gray, KSAT 12.
Taking a look now at some developing stories we've been following today. A teenager and an adult are recovering in the hospital tonight after a shooting over on the south side at a park. It happened around 1:45 this morning at Kingsborough Park in the 300 block of Phelps. According to SAPD, 2 men between 16 and 19 years old were at that park overnight. One was shot in the back of the head, the other shot in the back. It's unclear right now what led up to that shooting, but officers say the shooter or shooters drove off in a black Kia Soul. The two victims were taken to BAMC. The one who was shot in the head is in critical condition. The other victim is expected to recover. That shooting remains under investigation tonight.
San Antonio police also looking into another shooting, and this one took place at a Northwest Side apartment complex. And according to police, a man was shot during a drug deal. That happened around 10:30 last night at the Horizon Hills apartments in the 4000 block of Horizon Hill. Officers say the 21-year-old victim was making an exchange with the suspect, and police say the suspect then began shooting. The man was taken to University Hospital in critical condition.
A building at the former SAISD headquarters on fire this morning, and police say drug users may have played a part in it. That fire starting around 5:45 this morning in a portable classroom on Lavaca Street. That's downtown near South Alamo and Cesar Chavez Boulevard. The San Antonio Fire Department says people using drugs in that building might have sparked the flames. SAFD says investigators found crack pipes, balloons, and butane cans at the scene. No arrests have been made and no injuries were reported.
Now, a 14-year-old in custody after a convenience store shooting in Texas that left 3 teenagers dead and another in critical condition. Garland police releasing surveillance video of a suspect entering that store Sunday night with a handgun. Investigators say that person shot several rounds, killing 3 teens between the ages of 14 and 16. Now, the motive for the crime still not clear. There was no robbery, and it's also unclear if the shooter knew the victims.
The gun used in this incident was a .40 caliber pistol. It had an extended magazine. We know he fired at least 20 rounds because we found the shell casings.
Police are also looking for a second suspect who left the scene in a white truck, and that was seen in a surveillance video.
Let's take a live look outside with Live Cam tonight on this Tuesday. A little cooler today, but that sun did not penetrate those clouds, Adam.
Well, not locally. No, elsewhere we had high temperatures into the 80s. We'll take a look at that in a moment. I do want to point out something that, of course, is very indicative of the season. Mountain cedar count. Check this out. It jumped big time today, very high to a count of over 21,000. Mold dropped a little bit moderate now at 940. And when the northerly wind kicks in this weekend, late Saturday, it's not going to help the cedar count at all. Temperatures right now 60s to near 70. Seguin and even 70 degrees. Stinson 73. Uvalde 67 along with Bandera. And 71 right now in Helotes. As we go through the evening, just more of the same, gradually falling through the 60s. Mild out there, temperatures well above average, not much of a breeze, and fog developing around and after midnight. But we do have the dry line visiting us tomorrow. We'll talk about that, what it means for dew points, a little break in the humidity for some, and the next strong cold front that's going to hit us this weekend. I'll see you in a bit.
Thank you, Adam. If you're looking for healthy and affordable food options this holiday season, there is a food truck that you might want to check out. The San Antonio Food Bank's Mobile Mercado is bringing residents in food desert areas access to free fruits and vegetables and other healthy foods at affordable prices. Tiffany Huertas has a look at the unique program and how it's impacting the community.
The main goal is to fight food insecurity within the community of San Antonio.
From fresh fruits and vegetables to healthy, non-perishable food items, you can find it inside this unique food truck.
We do try to target areas that are considered food insecure or food deserts, low-income areas, because they don't have available access to getting healthy foods at low cost.
People can come inside the food truck, fill this bag with fruits and vegetables for free.
We have people that come in every week, and anybody's welcome to come as often as they like. There's no limit.
At every Mobile Mercado location, there's also a nutritionist who can make tasty meals with healthy ingredients found in the truck.
We want them to learn how to incorporate those fruits and vegetables that they're getting from the Mercado into their everyday meals for themselves and their families.
The Mobile Mercado stations at University Health System's parking lot on West Martin Street on Tuesdays and goes to other locations throughout the week.
It's tight for everybody right now, just with everything going on. So the prices are increasing in some places as well. So it really, really helps everybody in the community with all of their needs.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
This is hard to believe, but, as we enter the 3rd year of living with COVID-19, a lot of people are feeling burned out, frustrated. The stress is mounting for a lot of people, and that is the topic of tonight's KSAT Explains live stream. We're taking a look at how the pandemic has affected our mental well-being. We'll also discuss how we can take care of ourselves. So we invite you to watch KSAT Explains Your Mental Health Amid a Pandemic. That's tonight at 7. You can live stream it on KSAT.com, the KSAT TV app, and our Facebook page.
Coming up on the 6 o'clock news, we'll take a look at how law enforcement agencies here in Bexar County are cracking down on drinking and driving during the New Year's celebrations this year. More details right after this break.
So here's a look at what we're working on for the night beat, a crime that often goes unpunished. The Texas Association Against Sexual Assault reports that more than 94% of rapists will roam free because only 3% of them will ever go to jail. Why is that? We're going to take a look at the challenges that victims and prosecutors are facing.
And Metro Health confirming our Omicron case count increasing from 5 to 7 in San Antonio, but those numbers don't really tell the whole story. But researchers here in San Antonio are saying the data actually reveals about this latest variant.
So now we're going to go to our traffic. You know, law enforcement agencies are working together this week to try and stop drunk drivers.
Yeah, our Samuel King joins us now live. Samuel, officials are concerned there could be more people driving while drunk this year?
That's right, Tim and Stephania. They spiked more people staying at home last year. There were still dozens of fatal crashes statewide during the holiday season last year, with 11 deaths during New Year's weekend alone. And that's something officials want to avoid this week.
You know, this is San Antonio. We're all about celebrating, but we should be about celebrating responsibly.
Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar says in case people don't celebrate responsibly, more patrols will be out on the roads this week looking for drunk drivers.
What we're doing is we're taking a lot of our special operations folks, our street crimes, our gang unit officers, and they'll actually be out purposely looking for DWIs that night. We know that they'll be out there, and we're going to be out there in full force looking.
Meanwhile, SAPD says its traffic unit will be working extended hours. Last year in San Antonio, there were 172 DUI-related crashes with 4 deaths and 6 injuries during the entire holiday season.
We're going to do our very best to respond to those calls where drunk drivers may be reported. We're going to do our best to make sure that we get any impaired drivers off the roadway.
Both agencies agree that everyone needs to take responsibility to prevent drunk driving and tragedy on our roads.
It takes us as San Antonians, it takes us as citizens, it takes us as neighbors, as friends, as family, to hold each other accountable.
You know, you designate a driver, which designating a driver doesn't mean the most sober person, right? Or the person that's had the least amount to drink. A designated driver is somebody that has had 0 to drink.
And you can also, of course, order a taxi or use a ride-sharing app to help with that. SAPD will also be on the lookout for speeders and reckless drivers. The city has already recorded more than 200 fatality accidents in 2021, and there's still a few days left in the year. Now, taking a look at traffic this evening, of course, not as many people on the roads this evening in between the holidays, of course, but of course on 1604 at Coliseum, we have some slowdowns there, as you might expect. 9 minutes now westbound I-10 to Bandera Road. Also some slowdowns on 35, no surprise. 27 minutes coming in from New Braunfels, 21 minutes the other way. Finally, let's take you out west. If you're heading out to Eagle Pass this evening, keep this in mind. US 57 is closed at the Maverick-Zavala County line after a major crash out there, guys.
All right, let's take a live look outside right now from our sky cam. Got a nice view of downtown San Antonio, all nice and lit up. Just 67 degrees right now.
Yeah, Frost Bank Tower looking good.
Let's send things on over to Adam Caskey. He's going to tell us what's on tap for the rest of the week.
Yeah, get ready. The dry line pays us a little visit tomorrow. It's going to impact dew points and mugginess for some folks, but the strong cold front, that's going to hit us this weekend. So if you don't like this warmth around the holidays, there's some changes you'll be looking forward to by Saturday night. High temperature today, 72 degrees. That's almost 10 degrees above average for this time of year. The morning low, 66. The average low, 41, so obviously well above average. We made it into the 80s in some spots. Pleasanton 82, Gonzales 80 degrees, Del Rio 81 for a high. And I do expect more of the same up until that cold front hits Saturday night. So let's take a look at our December so far. This is in San Antonio. We're 9.6 degrees above average, and we are on track for one of the warmest Decembers on record here in town. The warmest temperature we've had so far this month, 83 degrees. That was back on the 10th. You look at the temperatures down, there's this little swath of 60s where you see the green contour here, that green color on the map. That's where the clouds really held tight for a good portion of the day, and in turn, temperatures didn't get as warm. Remember, temperatures are very sunshine dependent, especially this time of year. And when those low clouds hold tight for even a few extra hours into the afternoon, makes a big difference. And it did make a difference today. But 60s and 70s out there right now. Go off to the north, the changes are up the plains, especially once you get up to Wichita and northward, because they're on the cool side of the jet stream, or cold side of the jet stream, you could say, with temperatures in the teens, 20s, and even below zero farther north. So the jet stream always delineates the colder air to the north from the warmer air to the south. And the core of the cold air, that's up in Canada right now. Yellowknife, 38 below. Saskatoon at 24 below. Yesterday, Edmonton was 40 degrees below zero during the night beat. Okay, so that's where the core of the cold air is, and that's going to dislodge and plunge southward over the coming days. But we're not going to get a taste of it until we get into Saturday night and Sunday morning. Now, I want to just put it out there right now. This is not going to be a deep freeze. This isn't going to be a long-term thing. It's just putting a big dent in our well above average temperatures, and will actually drop us a little below average for a change. So here's that colder air holding off. Saturday still around 80 degrees for the high temperature. Then we get into Sunday. The colder air is in place. The core of it not moving here, but we could have our first freeze by Monday morning. Take a look at the morning low temperature trend here. Tomorrow morning, 63. Near 60 degrees all the way through Saturday. That's for the lowest temperature all day, the coolest temperature. Sunday morning, 37. Monday morning, we're forecasting 33. We have yet to have our first freeze officially in San Antonio, but it could come on Monday. There is that possibility. So something we're watching. As for the dew points, you feel some mugginess out there. Dew points in the 60s, but look at our futurecast here, because we are anticipating the West Texas dry line to drop in tomorrow during the afternoon hours, cutting down on that humidity for some folks. And right now it looks like the most likely areas to get some relief from the mugginess will be west of I-35 for Wednesday afternoon and on into Thursday morning. But by the weekend, Saturday night, we all get rid of the humidity and the mugginess is gone for everybody. Today, no action around Texas, just some high clouds over the Pacific that are getting ready to stream overhead over the next couple of days. The real activity's been around the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest. That's where the main moisture and winter storm system is right now. But for us around here, just some fog and drizzle in the morning at 63, then sunny by the afternoon, 79. Not much of a breeze tomorrow. It's going to be shifting around at about 3 to 8 miles per hour. 82 in Pleasanton, Cotulla topping out at 86 tomorrow. Rock Springs a high of about 75 degrees. So another unseasonably warm day considering the average high is 63. So Elmendorf, Lavernia, about 81 tomorrow. And then that cold front hits Saturday evening. The wind's going to pick up, gusty winds up to 40 miles per hour. And it's going to be chilly on Sunday, a high temperature of only 53, and that's with full sunshine. And then early next week, still only in the 50s on Monday.
Packing in all the seasons this week. Thanks, Adam.
You know, we're going to take a look back at something that happened during yesterday's game with the Spurs and the Jazz, right? Jordan Clarkson, there was some kind of something that happened with a fan.
Yeah, we don't have video because it happened during a timeout. Now, some people have posted pictures and video on social media accounts, but we don't have the video. But still, Jordan Clarkson for Wagner High School is just such a laid-back young man, but he had an altercation with the fan last night because he said the fan crossed the line. Plus, the Valero Alamo Bowl coaches both talked today with the media and posed with the trophy they're going to play for. Coming up. Both head coaches met with the media today for the final time ahead of the Valero Alamo Bowl tomorrow night. Sooners interim head coach Bob Stoops and Ducks interim head coach Brian McClendon. Stoops is one and done after the Alamo Bowl and will make way for new head coach Brent Venables. Stoops is excited to coach impressive freshman quarterback Caleb Williams.
Players love him. He's practiced every day with energy. always ready to go, always got a bright, happy demeanor about him. So he's got the characteristics and the talent, and I'm just hopeful as time, as he continues to progress, he'll continue to evolve as one of those great quarterbacks.
Oregon suffered 3 losses this season and fell short of their preseason goals. So what's the message going into the game tomorrow night against OU?
One of the biggest messages that has been echoed throughout this time is, this part of the year is about finishing. This part of the year is about finishing, and you have a clear opportunity to be able to finish something that you start.
Coach also said he will not be down 31 players as reported, but isn't exactly sure how many players will miss the Valero Alamo Bowl tomorrow night at 8:15. Number 20 Houston playing Auburn in the Birmingham Bowl this morning. Third quarter, Auburn quarterback TJ Finley hits Kobe Hudson for a 12-yard touchdown. The Tigers lead for the first time, 13-10. Late fourth quarter, the Cougars go up for good. Clayton Tune throws to Jake Herslow, 26-yard touchdown, and that's your ball game. Number 20 Houston wins 17-13 to finish the season 12-2. Right now, Mississippi State and Texas Tech are playing in the Liberty Bowl, and Tech leads 10-0 late in the first quarter. We'll have more for you on the Night Beat. Trailing by as many as 18 points in the fourth quarter last night, the Spurs never gave up. They just kept fighting the Utah Jazz and darn near beat them, but in the end, they lost 110-104. San Antonio got within 6 points, 108-102 with 22 seconds to go, but Jordan Clarkson sealed the deal with 2 free throws. The young Spurs battled until the very end.
Obviously, we're still trying to win the game. I think we still had 3-4 minutes left to play, like a lot of basketball. A lot of things can happen in that amount of time. So, we gave it our best shot, and even the young guys that came in the end played really hard and made it even closer of a game. So, that's good, obviously.
Clarkson led the Jazz with 23 points, but the reigning 6th man of the year got into an altercation with a fan sitting courtside, not pictured. Clarkson approached a fan following a timeout, but his teammates and Jazz security stepped in his way, and the fan was removed from the game.
Another guy was sitting there doing the same thing, but I knew it wasn't harmful. But then I guess it was a timeout happened, and the guy just keeps antagonizing me, and then almost challenges me, like, what you gonna do? After, saying a bunch of stuff.
Clarkson also said the fan crossed the line and used malicious language. So the Spurs will host the Miami Heat tomorrow night at 7:30 before hitting the road for 7 straight games. And it's not even the rodeo road trip, and it's 7 straight away.
Not a very warm welcome for the hometown guy.
No.
Thanks, Larry.
We'll be right back. One family wants answers after their 14-year-old daughter was shot and killed by an officer's stray bullet in Los Angeles.
That girl in a dressing room with her mom as police were searching for who they thought was an armed suspect. ABC's Andrea Fujii has more.
Newly released body camera video shows the tense moments as a Los Angeles police officer opened fire in a department store last week, killing a 14-year-old girl behind a wall.
There's a guy with a gun. They're inside and everybody's running away, evacuating the building.
Police say officers were attempting to apprehend a suspect who they believed was armed.
Where are the fitting rooms? Fitting rooms.
Officers opened fire as they claim Valentina Orellana Peralt was out of sight in a dressing room at the time. A stray bullet went through a wall and hit her. She died in her mother's arms. Her parents speaking to the media with their attorneys translating.
To see a son or daughter die in your arms is one of the pains, the greatest pains and most profound pains that any human being can imagine.
The family demanding answers as the suspect, who was also shot and killed, did not have a gun on him, but allegedly did attack a woman in the store. Security video shows the suspect walking with a bike and a metal item. He is then seen grabbing a customer and hitting her with the object. The family says they want the LAPD to release all the video from the scene and the officer to be held accountable.
Valentina's life mattered. We demand justice. If it was your baby girl, wouldn't you demand justice too?
The officer involved is now on paid leave as the department investigates. But some civil rights groups are calling on LA County District Attorney George Gascon to charge the officer.
Gascon has made a big promise. He's going to look at police misconduct, but especially the overuse of deadly force by the LAPD.
The LAPD released a statement expressing condolences to Valentina's family. So far, more than $25,000 has been raised for their family's GoFundMe account. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Now to a deadly plane crash in California. The jet crashing to the ground, just missing an entire neighborhood. Really incredible. It happened last night in San Diego County. Federal authorities are investigating it. First responders arriving at the scene, and they found charred wreckage from the plane just scattered across the street. Big scene there. The FAA is reporting that 4 people died from that jet crash.
There's very little left of the aircraft. What's left is burned. The only fatalities we're assuming right now are those that were in the air.
We felt like this giant boom, like shake up our whole entire house. I thought it was an earthquake or like a boulder from this hill come down.
Rain was reported in that area during the time of the crash, but it's unclear at this point if the weather played a factor in the accident.
Students at New York City Public Schools are set to return from the holiday break as scheduled. Mayor Bill de Blasio says the public school system will resume in-person classes on January 3rd. But those schools will be ramping up testing to combat the latest COVID-19 surge. Under the new policy, if a student tests positive, the rest of that classroom will have to take 2 at-home tests per day over 7 days. Any student who doesn't have symptoms and tests negative twice in one day can return to the classroom. Meanwhile, the city also doubling the amount of PCR tests they do at schools per week.
So we're staying in New York City for this story. You know, the New Year's Eve celebration may have been scaled down because of the coronavirus, but the Times Square ball is just as grand as ever. Crews installing the 2022 numerals over the weekend. They remain dark until the stroke of midnight this Friday. And once the ball drops, the numbers are going to light up the New York skyline. Each numeral stands at 7 feet high, and together they weigh 1,130 pounds, and they use 599 energy-saving light bulbs. That's going to be a question on Jeopardy at one point.
Speaking of the new year, it is just a few days away, and as you look ahead to 2022, what are some of the most important things that can save you time and money next year? And what loose ends should you be tying up before Friday? Erica Hernandez has your end-of-the-year checklist.
As 2020 winds down, what items on your to-do list would you like to get squared away?
Be able to dedicate myself more and get like my dream body because I want to work out.
I'm always working on my finances. Experts say before the end of this year, you might want to build a budget for next year, analyze how you spent your money last year, and make necessary adjustments. It's also a good time to organize your photos and emails. Delete the ones you don't want and back up the ones you do. And take a good look at the apps on your phone. Many subscription apps have automatic payment schedules, so you might want to cancel the ones you don't use. Services like Truebill and Trim allow you to view all of your subscriptions in one list. Now is also the time to get your receipts together for tax purposes. Having all of your paperwork in one place will make the process easier. You might want to make any last-minute donations to boost your deductions. If you didn't see your doctor or dentist for a checkup, try to squeeze an appointment in before the year's end. And it's also a great time to change the batteries in your smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Clean your oven, do all that good stuff. All right, well, still ahead, we're going to show you how a new smart ring is tracking chronic illness. We're going to have that and so much more in your consumer headlines up next.
All right, check this out. A new piece of wearable tech is hoping to break into the fitness marketplace next year. Tech company Movano unveiled its new smart ring. Like many other similar products, the ring will measure things like heart rate, sleep, respiration, and blood oxygen levels. The company is also promising to present this data to users in a more actionable way that it says will provide better insights into how to prevent chronic disease. Movano's ring will go on sale in the second half of 2022.
We just wonder how much it's going to be. All right. Well, Americans will have one less healthcare headache in 2022, and that's thanks to the No Surprises Act. That new law is banning most unexpected medical charges from out-of-network providers, and it's scheduled to go into effect at the beginning of the new year. Federal estimates predict that it's going to apply to about 10 million surprise bills every year. So basically, it protects patients when they get treatment from healthcare providers out of their network that they didn't choose. Patients are going to be responsible only for their in-network cost sharing in those situations.
And speaking of consumer news, let's take a look at some grass prices. Maybe if you're heading out this week, they are a little bit down from where they were earlier in the fall, around 264, 267 here in San Antonio. That is the lowest among the major areas in the state, about 20 cents below the state average. And then the federal average, or the United States average, is at 328. So that is looking fairly good there. This is Loop 1604 at Calabar. You can see some delays in traffic out there. Really one of the few places in the area that's even seeing any sort of delays. Also on 35 on the north side. But if you are heading out of town, everything looks fine. 29 minutes on I-10 out to Seguin, even 26 minutes to New Braunfels. So things are flowing pretty well. Not too many crashes out there, guys.
Thanks, Samuel.
Hey, live look out there right now at 410. Not too much traffic out there right now. 66 degrees. We're going to send things on over to our friend Adam Caskey to let us know what's on tap for the evening.
Pretty quiet this evening. Just you'll notice the dew forming on vehicles and outdoor surfaces pretty early, probably by about 9-10 o'clock is when we get that moisture forming. Just because of the high humidity and temperatures, this air temperature is going to hit the dew point, and then you get dew. One reason why we call it the dew point. 66 right now. By midnight, we'll be about 64 degrees. And tomorrow morning, near 60 for most of us. More fog, a little bit of drizzle. The big changes come this weekend. If you're ready for a strong cold front, get ready for Saturday night. I'll be back in a bit to talk about it.
Nothing but net. This Washington, D.C. teacher went viral after she sank a full-court basketball shot, and she just made it look so easy. Kathleen Fitzpatrick promised her third-grade class a hot chocolate party if she made the shot. So when it went in, when that happened, the kids went crazy, and so did people everywhere.
Fitzpatrick says she has heard from people in Germany, Spain, and the United Kingdom. She's also been playing basketball most of her life, including in college. She says she can't wait to hear other bet ideas from her students when they return from their holiday break. All right, an endangered Sumatran orangutan at a zoo in New Orleans gave birth to a baby boy on Christmas Eve. Specialists at the zoo gave the infant a clean bill of health, and the pair are now bonding behind the scenes.
Yeah, though the 12-year-old orangutan is a first-time mom. Workers say that she's seen others in her habitat raise babies, and she appears to know what she's doing. Aw, cute. By the way, there are fewer than 14,000 Sumatran orangutans in the wild. The Home Depot has enhanced its military discount benefit. The retailer announcing that new policy today. U.S. veterans, active service members, and spouses who pre-register for that benefit on the app will get a 10% discount on their purchases in stores and online.
Previously, that 10% military discount was only available in physical Home Depot stores, and spouses were not eligible. In order to receive the benefit on digital purchases, recipients must register for it on Home Depot's app. The company says it employs more than 35,000 veterans and military spouses. All right, you have permission to eat after Halloween and Christmas and everything. I think I'm done with the sweets for 2021. We'll start fresh.
So you say, we'll see how long that lasts, right?
Yeah. I believe that for a hot second. That's it. Tim Gerber. You're going to have a nice dinner and you're going to get that sweet tooth going again.
Always.
That's
tonight.
the problem, yeah.
All right, so let's chat about what's coming our way. We'll get ready for a strong cold front for this weekend. So if you don't like this unusually and abnormally warm air for this time of year, don't worry. A strong cold front's coming. You just need some patience until Saturday evening. Until then, more fog and drizzle for the morning hours. Just that nuisance dampness. Dryline's going to pay us a visit tomorrow, so some folks will get a little break in the mugginess and the cold front that arrives Saturday evening. I want to talk about our December. I mentioned it earlier, how we're more than 9 degrees above average so far for the month in terms of our temperature. And you compare it to the past 20 years, and it's significantly warmer to every December over the past 20 years. And we're really on track to come in as one of the warmest Decembers on record here in San Antonio. Of course, we'll have to see what temperatures do for the rest of this week before we can really see where we fall into place. Kerrville now at 64, New Braunfels 68, 71 in Pleasanton, and it's 69 degrees right now in Gonzales. No big temperature difference. You have to head farther to the north and especially get into Oklahoma and northward up the plains to get into the cooler readings. Nebraska, teens, Wyoming, Montana, teens and even single digits. That's the core of the cold air, which gets even colder when you get up in Canada. I just checked the morning low temperatures, and Edmonton had a morning low of minus 44 degrees Fahrenheit. How about that for a morning low temperature? Right now they're at 9 below, but you see Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I know I always say it 'cause it's my favorite town in Canada to say. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan at 24 below zero. So that's really where the core of the cold air is placed right now. And it is going to dislodge and move southward in the coming days. It's not going to make it here until Saturday night. So Saturday's still a warm day for us, but Saturday night, if you're out and about, get ready for it. It's going to be one of those strong, hard-hitting cold fronts. We're not looking at a prolonged freeze or any extreme conditions here, just a big, brief temperature drop. So high temperatures tomorrow through Saturday. Afternoon readings right near 80 degrees, give or take a few. We get into Sunday. In the morning, we'll be in the 30s. By the afternoon, only 53 degrees, the high temperature. Monday, back to school for most kids, 57 degrees. And then you see that warming trend as we get throughout the week. So it looks like this cold front's really going to impact us for about 2.5 to 3 days. Dew points right now in the 60s. Of course, we have the mugginess that gives us the morning fog. We'll have that again tomorrow morning through about the noon hour. But the West Texas dry line, that's going to pay us a visit, and it's impossible to tell exactly where this is going to set up. But right now, it looks like odds favor somewhere along I-35. So folks, especially west of I-35, the closer you are to the Rio Grande or up into the hill country, the more likely you are to have a little break in the humidity for Wednesday afternoon and even on into Wednesday night. But then the breeze off the Gulf of Mexico takes over again for Friday. And even the first part of Saturday is going to be muggy. Saturday night is when the dew points drop off, and everybody's going to get a big drop in dew points and humidity behind this coming cold front. So especially by Sunday, you're not even going to think of humidity. We have some clouds coming off the Pacific. They'll be streaming overhead the next few days. So once we break free from the morning clouds, we'll have a little bit of afternoon sunshine and high clouds, but no real activity around Texas in terms of any active weather or precipitation. 63 in the morning, near 80 by the afternoon. Typical trend of morning fog and drizzle, then some afternoon sunshine. 86 in Cotulla tomorrow, Canyon Lake 79 the high temperature. Castroville, Von Army, Elmendorf all about 81. And by the way, we could have our first freeze Monday morning. We have yet to have our first official freeze in San Antonio. That could come Monday.
Protect the plants. Thanks, Adam.
Yes. In case you missed it, is coming up next.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. It is December 28th. Charges have been upgraded for a man who caused a Christmas Eve crash that ended with a pregnant woman's baby dying. 23-year-old Gerardo Lozano initially charged with 3 counts of intoxication assault, but now he's facing an intoxication manslaughter charge. The crash happened last Friday night near 38th Street. Police say Lozano ran a red light or a stop sign, crashed his SUV into a truck, the impact forcing the truck across an intersection into a retaining wall.
So now we're learning more about the man who was shot and killed on Christmas Day. He is 24-year-old Trevor James Beeman. Police say that his neighbor killed him Saturday morning. The suspect is 28-year-old Mason Sayer Lovitz. Beeman suffered injuries to his neck and torso and died on Larkspur, right near Lock Hill Selma Road and West Avenue.
Mounting criticism after the CDC changes its isolation recommendations. Some frontline workers are raising concerns about the move.
This is not the time to be lessening. Our staffing concerns have not been addressed, and measures like this will make it worse instead of better.
If you're searching for a test and you don't have an appointment, the city says there are 2 places that are accepting walk-ins. The Center for Advanced Wellness at Botts Lane and TPC Parkway, it's accepting walk-ins. The addresses are on your screen. They're open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, with the exception of New Year's Eve. You can also schedule a COVID-19 testing appointment through curative.com. You just type in your zip code and they'll show you the location nearest you.
More of the same all the way through Saturday. Then get ready for a strong cold front. You're going to feel it hit us abruptly after dark on Saturday. So we'll still make it to 80 degrees Saturday, but then Saturday night, the changes happen. You wake up on Sunday and we'll be down to about 37 degrees. So there comes the big temperature drop. First freeze possible officially for SA Monday morning. We'll see.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you back here for the Night Beat tonight at 10.
Have a good night. We'll see you then.